Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review. We're the host of the What Do You Say Anime podcast. Nominate and vote on shows that either we haven't seen or shows that will hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's spooky Halloween episodes, the hobgoblins of the podcast, we'll be talking about the 2020 seinen slaughterhouse. That is Dorohedero. Let's meet today's trick-or-treaters. First up, he is cosplaying as Gojo and role-playing as Amelia. We have Johnny. Johnny, how's it going?
What does she say? Fuck, I don't know. Why do you do this to me? Like, you said it was gonna be something. Okay, whatever.
Great content, Johnny. Second up, he is searching for the One Piece and some bitches and can't find either. We got Parf. Parf, how's it going?
I've never seen a bitch before in my life, and I'm still looking for them.
Well, hopefully one day
Say
you
your
will
bitch
find
right
it
now.
in chapter, I don't know, 2000. Next up, he
chapter
is
5000.
so real. He is the only person to be diagnosed with COVID-100. We got Kat. Kat, how's it going?
Man, I just got a lot of shit going on.
All right, the content is wonderful tonight. Good job, guys. Keep up this spirit that we got going on.
This is your
Our first moderator of the
You know
night, he
shares.
is Italian and he is a spirit, the Gabagool himself. We got Miles. Miles, how's it going?
Am I hobgobagoo? Is that how that
Gabagool.
works?
You're an Italian spirit. You are a Gabagool.
Oh, you called me a hobgoblin earlier, so I
No,
didn't know
we-
if I was
as
like,
a collective-
gabagool or a hobgobblegool.
As a collective group, we are hobgoblins.
Okay.
As a singular man or spirit or phantom that you are a Gabagool.
I don't think that's how it works, Pete.
That's exactly how it works. I looked it up on Google.
Yeah, Google's wrong. Yeah, Google's wrong.
I had some spooky spaghetti earlier today for
That's
dinner.
crazy.
It was wonderful.
That is awesome. And our second moderator of the night, we have BoJack Horseman. BoJack.
God, I wish I knew the show well enough to quote
Just
from
be
it.
depressed. Say depressed things.
That's
I
true.
watched Dorohedero. That's there you go.
A little
That's
too
one of the-
uplifting for BoJack. You need to be like, my entire career is a wreck, and I got caught hitting on my love interest's 16-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sounds like the main
Great
character
show.
of,
I don't know how I would
of an
do that.
anime.
great show.
is that something I should be admitting to on a podcast? I don't know.
You're
I
playing
mean-
a bit. You're just Will Arnett. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Wow, that was a really, really good start, guys. We're
You know,
all
it's
new
not an
listeners-
improv podcast. It's an
Yeah,
anime
no,
podcast.
clearly not.
I
But
blame
yeah,
it
so
all.
welcome. We watched Dorohedero as our quote unquote spooky horror anime this week or this year. Yeah, why don't we do our usual first impressions? Keep it spoiler free. Keep it from being a little too plot heavy. Do your first couple episodes, yada yada. Miles, start us off, my friend.
Sure. So my first impressions of the show were relatively negative. The show is mostly done in CGI, and that CGI is like it's pretty bad. And like for the first 2 episodes or something, it was just distracting with like how bad it was. But by the time like the 3rd episode got around, I sort of got used to it. It wasn't like good all of a sudden, but you just sort of looked at it long enough, so it's no longer like offensive to your eyes. The plot and everything was, I thought, enjoyable. The characters were fun and everything. So like ultimately I would recommend it, but like just know that you might need bleach for your eyes for a little bit.
I think that's a good way to put it too. I agree with the it was still enjoyable even if it was off-putting at first. What about you, Kat? What have you got?
So, I actually watched it when it first came out with Pete. Not with him, but he convinced me to watch it.
I mean, we can watch it together, too.
I do not want to watch anything with you, Pete.
Damn.
Oh. Anyway,
Boo!
love you guys. Anyway, so Dorohedero is the first. I guess it was because I watched it before, but the actual CGI didn't really off-put me too much when I started rewatching it. The first time, I think it might have, but I don't remember how much it did. I guess I just kind of bought into the characters a little bit more. It kind of started off. I got a little bit of a slice of life like horror feel, uh, kind of like how Maruko-chan is like right now, but just like a different story. I guess you could say. I was invested into Kaiman and to Kaiman's story. But yeah, I actually really liked it, and I would definitely recommend it.
All right. Nice. So 2 recommendations so far. Parf, what have you got?
Um, you know, I was not off put by the CGI at all. Obviously, I mean, I had been told about the horrible looking CGI, but upon opening it up and watching that beautiful opening and everything, I was not. I was fully invested from episode 1. I think it's. I wouldn't call it horror though. I'd call it just a nice, grand old slice of life with a
Literally.
man. Um, so yeah, I would recommend it to anybody, and I've already recommended it to a friend.
To anybody?
Anybody,
Wow.
my grandmother.
Yeah. Grandma Parf is enjoying the show, yeah. All right, Johnny, what have you got?
Well, I might be blind, but even I can tell that the CGI in this show was, God, it was awful. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about what the show does have. So, like, as Miles said, you do eventually get used to it after a while. It's like I'm not sitting there like looking at every frame trying to decide whether this is good or not. And like the story itself, like I didn't think it was an amazing story, but it was enough to get you invested. The characters were kind of nice. Like I didn't like how like quickly the story started, but like they did like explain everything throughout, so it was fine. I like the characters. I thought some of the interactions was funny, and yeah, like it's a good show. It's just there wasn't a single point where I thought that like, oh yes, this 3D makes it better. But if you're looking for like some violence, it's like some dumb stuff like people getting cut up into a million pieces, toast into the devil, and I don't know what other edgy stuff. Then yeah, go ahead and watch it.
Fair enough. All right, and Pete, what have you got?
So this is the second time I've seen this. The first time I watched Dorohedero, I thought it looked like absolute trash from like the PV and like the cover art, and so I actually avoided watching it when it first came out. And then I ended up watching it like the season after it aired, and I was just blown away by like how much fun I had with the show. Maybe it's because I had such low expectations of it that I was pleasantly surprised by what I watched. I was invested in the characters. I think in terms of like some technical things about the show that does really well that I really gravitated towards. I thought like the characters were like super unique. The designs were like all I mean, I disagree with Parv. I thought like the horror aspect of not just like the violence, but like how they portrayed the characters and the themes that they were doing was kind of horror esque, and it really drew me into it because it was very unique. And there's not really like any shows that are kind of similar to this that are like mainstream. We will be getting Chainsaw Man, which is probably the most like compared. These two shows compare each other pretty similar. But yeah, I would recommend this to anybody who's like a seinen fan, horror. I thought like it did a lot of things well. Where I think we're gonna talk about it in the episode, but like the animation, not the best, but I thought it kind of matched the grittiness and the ugliness of the show itself. Where I wasn't off put by it, and it didn't affect my score in any way.
Fair. All right, and yeah, I don't have too much new stuff to add. I would say that one thing that no one else really talked about specifically, at least, I don't know if I liked the character designs very much, like how they looked, but I liked the characters, if that makes sense. Like, I liked how they interacted, I liked their personalities, I thought they were fun to watch. But yeah, again, the animation really just threw me off. I was so off put by how people were talking about it, but then I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. And then I watched it and I was just like, damn, this is
That's why I have this.
this is just it rubs you the wrong way, or at least it rubbed me the wrong way. And again, I did like what Miles said, like I did get over it eventually, but it's still there. Like I don't know, I just did not. It was so distracting at times.
Yeah, it's just like in Sword Art Online when they fight the Bone Scythe boss, and it's just like this absolute abomination of like CGI, and it just
Yeah.
like doesn't fit. That's every character in Dorohedero.
I would personally, Miles, I would not go that far. I was going to compare it at certain points to the dragon.
Oh, there goes the cat.
Well, there goes
well-
cat.
Well,
Well,
Well, I guess-
that's he got SAO'd, so there you go.
yeah,
I
it's
pers-
Cat's fault. He just wanted to push an agenda.
I
We'll never
compared
know.
to Gintama CGI, which was absolutely awful.
I don't know if anyone's seen Ari Ferretta, but it has the worst CGI of all time. So that's always the ground level of worst CGI.
X-Arms.
I was gonna say,
Ari
but
Ferretta
the
is
Berserk
X Arms
14
level. It's honestly that bad.
Is it
What about
really?
It's
Berserk
really bad.
14
Welcome
though?
back, Cat.
The
Okay, I'm
cat
back.
is back. What were we going to compare it to real quick before we move on, Cat?
I was trying to compare it to at certain points to the Arifreta.
Let's go! I called it.
Big.
Dragon.
The Hydra fight.
Yeah, the Hydra fight. Hold on, let me make sure that Discord doesn't try to push me onto my phone again. So the Hydra fight was terrible. And at certain points, it was terrible. Like, for example, in the first episode, when you had Nikaido fighting against the two dudes. The two dudes.
Fujita and his best friend.
Yeah, Fujita and the dude that
Matsumura.
becomes Mistmeat. Nobody cares about his name. And he... don't look at me like that, Parfully.
Fujita cares.
Fujita doesn't matter.
No.
No! Anyway, so the way that Nikaido jumps and does a backflip in midair and then has space to like land and like have a forceful impact, it just looks terrible to me. Like just doing all that and like gravity just not working on her. Like in traditional anime, like hand-drawn anime, looks great. But, like, you are about 4 feet above the ground, and you can do a backflip.
I loved it.
I didn't. I couldn't. Like,
I also loved it.
nobody cares about
I'm with you.
Parfully.
Jesus Christ, guys, come
What
on!
the fuck?
Why are we being so mean to each other? It's Halloween. Get it.
Well,
Yeah,
actually, it's
we-
November 1st.
We're
I
neighbors,
cosplay,
bro.
sorry.
Come on, like, let's be homely, be kind. You know, no, quit the horsing around. Like, come on, let's pull it together.
Are you the
That was
horse
good.
from Horsing Around?
That was amazing.
For the audio listeners,
Okay.
Pat is wearing a horse head.
That's crazy.
Nay.
All right. So-
all right, let's move on. All right, so first impressions are done enough, at least. We can continue talking about animation, I'm sure, because that'll be a big talking point. So yeah, spoilers for the show going forward. I think that they're pretty relevant because the show is driven by its plot, so or at least somewhat. So I would say beware of the spoilers going forward, and yeah, who wants us to kick us off?
Ooh,
Who has a
Me.
me? Anyone else? Anyone else got any?
Yeah, no, I'll go.
Because I won.
Yeah, Parf, go ahead. Yeah, Pete, what's up?
Okay. One thing that I love about animes that deal with like powers is how the system works in their world, and I think like the staple of that is Nen and Hunter x Hunter, and that's like the pinnacle of like power systems in anime / manga. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the smoke power system that they use, because I thought it was really interesting in how they handled it. All the sorcerer's powers are dealt with this bloodline of smoke in their body, and based off that, it like equates to different types of powers. So for me personally, I was a fan of the power system, but I can also see why people maybe digressed or thought it was like whatever because of maybe it wasn't explained well enough, or the complexity of it wasn't there. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, let's go with Cat, and then we'll head to Parf.
Okay, so so having watched it twice, I can confirm that this is my true opinion. The smoke in the powers, like the smoke power system, just didn't really work well for me, because like, yeah, it makes sense that like the whole town turning into mushrooms would be. By the way, spoilers. The whole town turning into mushrooms would be like a huge, would make sense with smoke because smoke travels and dissipates and stuff like that. But my issue with it is that for a lot of other people's powers, like it seems like maybe they'd be like it would seem like it would be a little bit better if they use like different types of like elements or elemental states instead of just gas, like maybe like liquid or like maybe non-Newtonian. Just having that having like a heavy gas doesn't really sit well with me. Um, just having that be the main smoke power system, I guess you could say, because with that, and I guess this is kind of the reason, the reason why they went with it, because they wanted certain powers to be like the most powerful, like healing and uh cutting
Mushrooms.
mushrooms. Mushrooms are the most powerful, which is weird. But with that, well, I'll save that a little bit later.
Okay, sure. And Parf, you had some thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I actually was while watching it was also comparing it to my favorite power system, Nen. I think Nen is really well thought out, and I think this can be comparable because obviously, just like in Hunter x Hunter and a lot of anime systems, you could use chakra, for instance, from Naruto. People are born with more than others, and that's why I like there's a whole power dynamic in that situation. Like Fujita, the absolute best boy.
Ooh.
Absolute
No.
best boy. Absolute best
Ugh.
boy. Anyways, so like he looks at that poster and he's like, "Oh, it cost. I think it was 3 million for like titanium and 5 million for platinum implants, and like so you can increase it, but you have to be wealthy. So there becomes this whole economic system based around it, and clearly the more powerful ones are in power. That's why the person I don't remember who Kikurage was before they became a dog. I don't remember if they had a name, but like that's why that person was having parties thrown so they can revive people. That's why Gen is in power. The power system relates to your social standing, and I think that's a great way. Absolutely love the smoke. I don't think they need to change the smoke from anything. I think it was a great way to. The reason I like Fujita's power is because the way he uses it in the baseball scene.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's super low key, but like like if he was in the real world and he was using that power, he'd make millions. But because he lives in the world that he lives, he's not doing great. So I think the power based off your personality and everything is just amazing.
Okay. And Johnny, you had some thoughts on
Yeah.
I
So
have some after that.
I want to say that like so about the power system itself. I think it's just like whatever. It's just like another. It's like an anime where people fight each other with powers and stuff to need a power system. But what I like is like Parf kind of talked about it. Is like the real world implications of the power. It's like the selling of powers. It's like how the people who don't have as much want to like get more, so they like take drugs and stuff to like get stronger and all that stuff. Like it makes sense. It's like and also like people selling their powers, even though like the people like just trying to sell their powers for like money or other purposes like that. I really like how it's done because it shows that like there are like real world consequences to like people having these powers. It's not just like some magical world. It's just like what a piece more like obvious complaints about My Hero Academia is like everyone is like vulnerable to guns. That kind
Absolutely.
of thing, you know. And like in this world, so like they go through like what would happen in a world with these powers and why and like where they exist. So yeah, that's what I liked about the powers.
Can I piggyback off of what Johnny just said with the
Sure.
guns? Yeah, so one thing that I wanted to point out, because that was a really good comparison to My Hero Academia with the guns. Um, in the show, the big main bad guy or good guy, depending on who you side with, uh, uh, his name is N, and he like basically forbids a lot of people in like the in the sorcery world from using guns, except for I guess the cross eyes because they're like his main opposition. And I like I guess I don't remember seeing anybody actually try and use a gun except like I don't see anybody getting shot by a gun in the show if I remember correctly. My
Shin gets shot in episode.
Noi gets shot.
Oh,
right
Noi.
in the
Yeah,
head.
Noi gets shot in the head in episode 2 or
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, people do get
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like
well-
episode 4 or 5. Actually.
Oh, is that what it? Okay.
Yeah.
Early
Okay.
first half.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. But yeah, like just having that kind of show is kind of interesting. And I guess it's I guess I could kind of point at like how the how like societies work here in this world now, even with like democracy and like a little bit of like forward mobility, like how people who have quote unquote earned what they get because they were born with mushroom powers can get a ton of power through just having their power be as strong as it is, and that are inherently weaker unless used with certain things. And the whole gun thing is kind of like saying, hey, we know that you don't have a lot of power, so this is an instrument that you can use to increase your social standing, except for it won't increase your social standing because of N's rule.
Can I bounce off the gun thing? I think one thing why like nobody uses guns, and I think it's shown really well in Dorohedero, is how durable the sorcerers are. Just like the gruesomeness that it takes to kill somebody as a sorcerer is like heightened than what a human was, because like you see Noi like shoving their heads through cement blocks in order to kill these people, or like Shin snapping their necks like 3 times over, and in some cases decapitating them and still living. I thought it was like a really great way to showcase like why melee weapons are so much more useful than say a pistol, because you have to slice and dice them like 30 times to kill a sorcerer, and then shooting Noi in the head doesn't kill her. And I thought that was like a really interesting way to like showcase like the abilities of a sorcerer compared to modern technology with like a Glock.
Yeah, I like so like, but then here comes the issue: is that they never really explain like why they're so durable. You just have to kind of like accept that.
I think that's
yeah,
fine.
they're-
I don't think everything needs to be like fully explained. We have the context of like sorcerers are obviously more powerful than normal humans. There's a reasons why the humans were like killing the sorcerers in the hole. Like when we saw the community cleanup crew, that like when they're if it's a one-on-one thing, the sorcerer wins. If it's 40 humans versus one sorcerer, maybe they could win. So that's why they did that like gang mentality when they tried to kill Shin when they found out that he was a sorcerer. So I think like that is explained. The context is there. It doesn't need to be spelt out for you in order to like understand the context of like who they are as like an upper echelon being or something. Like they're like titans compared to humans.
So like they do kind of answer it because so like Fujita, who is a clearly very weak sorcerer, he's able to get his bones broken by Nikado without using that thing at all. He's out for the count before he even gets to really do anything. But like Noi, like her power is that she heals, so that's why she takes so long. And like the only other person that really gets damaged a lot is Shin, and I just kind of accept it as, I mean, Noi uses her power on him a lot too, so it makes sense that like he's also now a lot more durable thanks to her. And then because like Kaiman, he gets taken out for the count, and for a bit. Nikaido, she got the whole mushroom thing, and she was out for like a day or two. So I don't think it's necessary that sorcerers. I mean, I do think sorcerers are maybe a little bit more durable, but I don't think they're like gods among men durable. I think just like Noi's, the person who we see attacked and damaged the most is Noi. or people around Noi, and she can easily fix them up.
So like the main character sorcerers are like they're like
Yes.
they're like top tier sorcerers, therefore they can like be more durable compared to Fujita, who gets his fingers snapped in half in like a millisecond.
And Matsumura, who dies like.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, I can definitely see that. Yep, for sure.
Again,
And like Ebisu, like kind of dies. Like
she does, yeah, no, but like she gets fixed up. But like, and we see the repercussions of that. She lost her memory, and she did not continue to function as a normal person for like the whole show, basically. Also, best girl.
I think like ultimately I did like the power system, but I also don't think there's like a ton of rhyme or reason to the power system. Like they're like the way that the smoke itself works is thought out, and what the smoke does is completely random, which is like whatever, it's fine. It just like stops it from being like a top tier like power system, because like you can just have whatever power you want and it just works by shooting smoke at people. You know, because like you can do something with time, even though I don't think we ever seen a Kaido use her smoke power. Like I don't know if we even know that that's true.
I think it's true, because when she goes to the world of the sorcerers and then she tells the guy to examine like the smoke, he says something about like how this is like super rare. He could be like arrested for even having that. So I think that
yeah, no, I mean I definitely think she's got something going on, and it probably is time. I'm just saying, like we never
seen it in action.
I don't think we get to see her like stop time or anything.
I gotta wait till season 2 when I'm involved, and then it'll.
When Bojack is in.
What's Bojack's smoke power?
Bojack's smoke power is Marlboro Reds.
Zawarudo or whatever.
That'd be lit. What if you like smoked the cig and then like shot his smoke out after that? That would be something.
That'd be pretty fucking badass. Smoking's cool.
I can't breathe.
You take off the mask.
Don't condone smoking.
Halloween's over. It's
I
alright.
was losing oxygen in my head. Just take it off.
Oriwa, Monkey D. Luffy.
I won, by the way. I lasted longer than Johnny did, so I'll take it. Oh my god. I can fucking breathe again. I started getting a headache from not having enough air.
Breathe harder.
Be like that.
Oh, yeah, just breathe harder. Yeah, duh. Okay.
Yeah, so like ultimately, I mean, I thought the powers were all interesting. I thought the way that they like are explained, like you produce smoke in your body and you need a way to get the smoke out of your body. So if you're not like naturally born a certain way, in order to do that, you have to like cut off your fingers or whatever in order to like let it go. Like we see Kaido do that when she's trying to save Cayman. She like slices one of her fingers off because she like left the sorcerer world or whatever, so she's not like equipped. We saw how Shin had to have surgery done in order to like have his smoke easily accessible, because his smoke ducts were like built up somewhere in him or something. So like I think all of that's really interesting, and I think the powers are neat. It's just like the powers could be anything. I don't really. It might sound weird, but I don't know if they really had to do all of the stuff they did to like explain how the powers work biologically, because it doesn't matter a ton.
I think my issue is that there's no defined limit to what they can do. So like you can just justify that they can do anything. It's like if they had a smoke that's just like well, no, that's already in the show. If they had a smoke that just turned people into like drug addicts or something, then like there's nothing like you can't do that.
If someone can like resurrect people, like that's like real strong, and then the same substance in someone else like turns people into mushrooms.
No,
yeah, I mean, like there, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a smoke that like makes you Kobe Bryant. No one knows.
Yeah. That could be taken out of context horribly wrong.
So yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else have another discussion topic? Anything about the plot, characters, whatever?
So, for me, I wanted to ask. So, skipping from the story as a whole, to kind of towards the end where I have a lot of my questions. Who do you think that Aikawa is?
Awa.
Yeah.
Who?
Who's Aikawa? Yeah, for
Yeah.
the audience, who's Aikawa?
Okay. Oh, Aikawa is shown in episode like the ending throughout episode 11 and 12. Aikawa is the dude in the mask that's not a crocodile, or an alligator, whatever. The reptile.
Lizard.
Reptile is lizard. Yes. So he also uses knives. And in the final episode, he slices Nakaido's back open out of nowhere, and it's
Oh, the devil. Yeah.
yeah. Well, not the devil. No.
Oh no. Yeah.
The dude. Like throughout the ending of the show, the ending of the throughout the 12th episode, it's shown that he is next to Risu, well, Risu's head on a mechanical body, and next to, not necessarily next to, but he is with or around Kaiman because he slices Nikaido's like back open for whatever reason. And from looking at what I saw, I thought that I'm kind of conflicted on whether or not Kaiman is like Risu's body, or whether Kaiman like might somehow by a twist of fate be a version of
Aikawa?
yeah, Aikawa. Sorry, I forgot his name. Or maybe like at the end when Nikaido said that she ended up losing a friend because of her power, maybe that was Aikawa. So I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts on that.
So, like, do you want to know the real answer? Because I read ahead.
No, I don't.
Okay. Then I won't answer that.
I mean, so what do we know? We know that inside of Kaiman's mouth is Risu's head and person.
Yeah.
We know that Risu's body is missing,
Mhm.
and or is Kaiman's body, and Risu's head was put on a robot.
Yeah.
That just happens.
We don't know what Aikawa looks like, right? Because of what he wears.
We know that he has sideburns.
Okay. So like, I don't know.
I don't know either. Like I don't know. I have no
am
clue.
so
I don't think we're
lost.
given enough
Oh,
information.
Yeah, I'm like I had like Google who Aikawa was. I'm like I don't know who this person is. Like
He's Risu's friend.
okay,
Yeah.
but like is he like important to the plot? Like I don't really like,
Later on,
Okay.
it
Yeah,
is.
so like, basically all we know about him is that he's the guy who was with Risu at near the end of Risu's life. That's really all we know. They were
Gotcha.
best friends, and for some reason, Kaiman also kind of remembers this stuff.
Yes, but like Kaiman like has to just like kind of at least sort of be Risu in some way.
Mhm.
We just don't know.
Yeah, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I
just
I
don't
mean, what do you mean? I don't know if it's a loaded question. Like they had the doll thing went and like found him when they used. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's something we would find out if there were like to be a season 2 or if you like finish the manga. I think we know that Aikawa, Kaiman, and Risu are all kind of mixed and matched in some way
Yeah.
currently. but we also don't know if Kaiman is Kaiman even necessarily a person?
Right, like right now, currently.
Well, like he could just be. Okay, so Simisu turned his head into a lizard, right?
Yes.
Okay. But and I think his head is on Risu's body.
No, we don't know
Yeah,
where Risu.
I guess like to me, like Kaimon kind of just feels like a Frankenstein, where like
That's
it's
what
like,
I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he has like someone's head, but he doesn't remember who he was.
Correct.
No.
And Risu got resurrected.
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
they could both be Risu. That's not impossible.
Yes.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
So if Kaiman is like a head that was put on Risu's body,
Yeah.
I don't know whose head it would be. Like I don't know if it's a character we've been introduced during flashbacks that
Okay,
we've seen.
isn't the guy in his body the leader of the Cross Eyes? And I don't think that's Ritsu, right? Because like you see that scene where like the Ain's like members are getting taken out like one by one, and then Noi and Shin go to that house to like clean them up or whatever, and then he cuts their stomachs, and then Ain comes in with the broom. It's during when they showed the movie, Ain's movie that he directed and starred in and
Yes.
and produced and all that stuff. And I don't know if that was supposed to be Ritsu, because Ritsu doesn't really seem like that type of person. So I don't know if the person inside of his... In the comments, if you're watching on YouTube, let us know if you know who it is. But like, I'm pretty sure like the person inside of his body isn't Risu. It's... But then then they also say it is Ritsu like multiple times.
So
That's what I'm going on.
yeah, no. So all we know,
maybe I'm just smoking crack. I don't
all
know.
we know by the end of the anime
We
is
know.
that
Read
it's
the
someone
manga.
that looks like Risu, and it's someone who was the boss. That, because like without saying anything more.
Yeah, so it's the boss. Risu is the boss.
Well, Risu himself is not the boss.
It's someone who looks exactly like Risu, but who is the boss?
Yes.
Okay, so Risu's the boss, and or like I don't know, Risu's alter ego slash
I asked this
split
question-
personality or something is the
So-
boss.
Risu's twin brother Ricky.
So I gotta ask this question, hoping that you guys had like been thinking about it too. But now we've got two people who are confused, a dude who's already read ahead, and a dude who had to Google who Aikawa is. So
I guess just where we're at in the anime, I don't think it's... I think it's like something that can be addressed later on, where it's going to be more important, but like right now, towards the end of it, it was like Nikaido fooling people that thinking that she still has the contract in her, and just like the Kaiman in her situation, I felt like that was like the pivotal point of where we left off, and that's kind of where my focus was. And I just think like who Kaiman is important. I guess it just wasn't the focal point of where I was thinking when the show was all said and done.
It's kind of the main question of the show, right?
No, it for sure is, but it's like
Okay.
it's like
It's like you don't expect to
I
find
guess
out.
like
in the first season.
I guess what you're saying is like you're
That
not
question-
thinking about it because we probably don't have all of the tools
Yeah,
necessary
because-
to solve it. So why worry?
yeah, because like when we like how I'm thinking, I don't know how the manga ends, but like I feel like once that question is answered, the story is over. And I feel like we're not at that point yet in the anime where there's still like other things going on that we want answers to. Like, I don't know. I just want more Johnson and stuff like that, but like, I'll have to try to get like Ibisu's like brain back or something like that. And
Best
just,
girl.
yeah. And just figuring out like the whole dynamics with their crew. But like, I do feel like maybe we could touch on this. Cause I think it was, a problem that some of us had with the ending, that I feel like that this story probably could have been, because the manga's 167 chapters. I feel like this probably could have been wrapped up in like one season, to be honest. And they did do 6 OVAs that were like comedy sketches. I feel like this could have been like a story that could have been done like in 12 episodes, and then the OVAs finished it, kind of like what like Relife did. I feel like we are like not that far. I wonder. I guess the manga readers would know, but like to me, what I'm feeling is like we're almost to the end of the story. Like I feel like we don't need to add more to it. So I wonder what your guys' thoughts on like that part of the story, like how you felt like it ended, because I feel like that's going to be like a big critical point for our ratings.
Yeah, Real Life was not. Real Life wanted a second season, to be clear, by the way, too. Sadly, it didn't get one. They had enough manga material similar to this. They had a lot more manga material that they could have covered. But to get back to Dorohedero, I agree that it didn't feel like this needed to be as long as it was, which like good for them for making a story this long. I guess, but I don't know. I was more along the ride for the character interactions and like what they were doing, I guess, rather than for the plot or for the story, if that makes sense. Like I was more watching to see how they would banter with each other or how they would handle decisions that they make and stuff like that rather than, wanting to see the conclusion of the story. I mean, obviously I did want to see it because I was watching it, but like I didn't particularly care that much, I guess. Like what I'm saying is making sense. Someone else wants to bounce in.
So like I don't know, Pete. Like I think that like I agree with you insofar as I felt when they were when we were hitting the climax of this that there like a series of events could have transpired in which everything was solved and wrapped up. Because everyone was sort of in the same room at the end there,
Yeah.
and like when that happens, you're able to do that. But like I still think with how they ended it, there's like things they could do. I guess I just was expecting it to end or be wrapped up because everyone was in the same room. And when everyone was in the same room, they sort of managed to all leave that room with essentially nothing being fully addressed. And then the show ended kind of abruptly. So like I think they can do more. I guess I was just surprised that there was more because I didn't realize, I haven't read the manga. So like I didn't know. Like it felt like it was going to end and then it didn't end. And I don't necessarily think that was like a bad thing. It was just sort of a surprising thing to me. Parf, you've read ahead.
Yes.
So would you say like do you think like you could get a full other core out of the material and it would be solid?
Yeah. So, it ends about like 1/4 of the way through the manga.
Oh
Oh,
wow!
shit.
Oh my
yeah,
god!
there's
Okay.
quite a lot to go through. Yeah.
Oh, I am mistaken.
Okay, then.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not. I'm not even fully caught up yet. But
Okay, so there's no way they were ending this in 12 episodes.
All right,
so the
I
anime goes up to
retract.
40 chapters of the manga, and I think it said 167, so it's about 1/4.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was no way they were wrapping this up.
So did you start from the beginning? Did we skip stuff? Or is it like
I
a
did
very
not. That's a good question.
faithful-
I did not start from the beginning. Maybe I should. I looked it up and I picked up from where it left off. Maybe I should go back and read it to see if we skip stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
That actually
I
kind of
guess-
is shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, so like I guess I would just consider like they have to is there another bit introduced? Is there like another focus that gets
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do we like
There-
is there like maybe more on like is it like Nikaido and her powers or something? And,
It's kind of that. It's kind of her past, and because I also googled like some other shit, because I love spoiling myself, and then it's more about the devils too.
that I did think I liked the Devil's lore. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
they were
there's
like
there's more on that.
interesting. Like I thought the world building was really good. Just generally,
And
they
it
did like a
obviously
lot of good
explores Kaiman too.
hard and soft. Yes, I assume so. But like that, that's like I guess I if they wanted to keep it going for 3 times the length, they had to explore sort of more stuff. Like to me, it feels like eventually we would get like a Shin, Noi, Kaiman, and Nikaido team up, and like maybe N. But they never really seemed that antagonistic with each other, even though they were constantly going at it. Like, I don't know. What did you guys think about the character interactions? Because to me, it had like a very interesting feel that like told us about the world, because they didn't seem like they hated each other at all. Besides, like, I mean, Kaiman seemed to hate sorcerers, but like everyone who wasn't a stupid lizard man, sort of just they like interacted amicably, and then they would like try to kill each other, and then if that didn't work, they would like interact amicably again, and then
Isn't Stupid
go
Lizard
from there.
Man that?
It was
Isn't Stupid
really-
Lizard? Isn't Stupid Lizard Man that song by Jonah and the Whale?
Is it?
No, it's Little Lion Man. That was the joke.
Okay. Wait, that's not Jonah the Whale,
or
right?
Judah and
That's
whatever
Mumford
it
and
is.
Sons.
Mumford and
Isn't
Sons.
it? Yeah.
Yes, the white people.
That's my contribution.
Yeah,
to this
no, I
episode.
got
There
you.
go,
I got
Pat.
you.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm
I
not
knew
worried
that was
about
stretching
that.
your range, Cat.
Mumford and
But
Sons.
here's the thing. So for me, because that was my interjection. For me, I really liked the way that that little bit with Shin and Noi, where Shin ended up seeing Noi naked, and then Noi came into the room. That was one of the reasons why it felt more like a slice of life for a long time, because like you saw two different people, like two different sets of people that were like living their lives in completely different ways, but they made the best of it in a way, and they kind of came to terms with how it felt, and it just like it gave me that sense of like it gave me a really gory version of that sense that I feel when I'm watching Blend S. Like just that weird kind of like, huh? What are you looking at me like that, Johnny?
Like the last show I expected you to mention.
I mean, it's a
Okay.
restaurant. It's a slice of life. Yeah, I get.
I
Yeah,
guess, yeah.
like
You're muted,
it's
by the way.
Thank you. I was gonna say it's the last show I expected, but it does make sense once you actually like think about it a little bit. Like I can see where you're going with it.
It's such because especially after Kaiman goes to the world of the sorcerers. I don't remember what the name of it is. I'm just calling it the world of the sorcerers right now. So basically what happens is Kaiman goes out on a quest to do whatever in Sorcerer's World to find out who he is. At the I think it's like the 10th episode. But basically, Kaiman, like you see Nikaido's like the amount of people that come into Nikaido's shop like almost like just increase exponentially after Kaiman leaves, partially because Kaiman is kind of scary because gas mask, crocodile face, all that.
People.
Yeah, and he got decapitated, and he's still alive, which is I doubt that nobody would not notice that, especially since like the competent doctors in the hole treated him, that type of thing.
You never mentioned who stole his head, by the way. That's another thing.
Oh no, I think
Yeah, like his head got stolen.
thinking about it, that might have been a plant for Aikawa.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, just seeing how Aikawa followed Risu and how Aikawa followed Kaiman. But maybe that's just me. Also, but like I guess that's pretty much it for me.
All right, I'll go since someone else is talking. I think the driving factor of this show are the characters. Like some of my favorite scenes of the entire show have nothing to do with the horror elements or the action. My favorite scene is the baseball episode. Like That was so much fun. The sharku, go sharks! Like that shit.
I did think that was fun.
That was
amazing.
That was so
That
much
was
fun.
awesome.
And they're losing like 4-0, and the doctor's like, "All right, go sabotage them with this." And then it's like 5-0. They're like, "Okay, go sabotage them with this." It's like, I don't know.
And he was ready to kill.
Yeah, like those scenes, the scenes with the characters are just like an absolute blast. The meat pie scene where they're just eating pies for like 10 minutes was like really fun. And I think that shows like why, like, I guess like in terms of like the slice of life elements of like why I gravitate to those shows when the characters are having fun or like the dialogue is fun, I'm having fun. And I think what this show does is has like a great like balance between like comedy and being serious and having like interesting conversations with like the magic and like repairing themselves and finding Kaiman's head, and then you just get Johnson go shocking, and like I know to everybody like that might not be like their favorite part, but every time he said it, I laughed my ass off. I just think like the balance between the characters are so well done, especially like Shin and Noi. Their relationship was so well done. Seeing them like grow as like teenagers to like Noi like giving up being a devil to save Shin's life. I thought that was like really fun, and then you see that in that senpai kohai relationship later, where it's just they're partners, they're friends, they're there for each other. I'm glad that there really wasn't like that romantic element to it. They're just like good people to each other.
I think there was like a quasi romantic thing to it.
I mean, like if that happens in the like the manga or whatever, like I get it, but I guess just like what we saw so far in the anime,
I don't think it's like It feels like two people who, first and foremost, they're friends,
Yes.
and then like secondarily, maybe they have a crush on each other.
Maybe, but like we see I brought this up in our chat. Why, like the importance of a partnership in this world is like there's nothing stronger than the bond between you and your partner, and like I felt that with Noi and Shin, where we saw people like hesitate with like the contracts and trying to find it, and Noi and Shin were just so nonchalant. They're like, absolutely, like I have no problem if you control my body, vice versa, and it just was so. The chemistry was so flowing and overwhelmingly in a good way with those two that's why I like gravitated towards them during like the episodes, and it was just really fun to see them like in the action scenes. Like, senpai, like let's see who can get the most kills tonight. Like that's fun and silly in the world that they're in, and it just shows the dynamic in a different way. So, those two were just like an absolute blast on screen, and the chemistry between the characters were so much fun.
I agree that was my favorite part of the show. It's kind of what carried it for me, in terms of like keeping my interest, if that makes sense. I just like the way that they talk, the way that they would chat while they're on their way somewhere or whatever. Like there's so many different moments that really like stood out. Like you talked about the baseball episode, that was so fun. That was really good.
There's something I just want to mention this before we get to our final thoughts. Like we kind of talked about it, but like I feel like we have to talk about this. Let's like try to have like a constructive argument about the animation. So
Sure.
I'm just gonna say this. I have nothing against the use of CGI in anime. There are times where it's honestly probably does the job better than traditional like hand-drawn stuff. I have no issues with the art direction of the show. I think it looks very nice with like the backgrounds, and I think like the backgrounds and stuff all look very like interesting and unique, and it makes the show stand out from all the other like anime, which it's like high school, like the generic anime art style. But I have a problem when it's just the characters don't feel like they belong in that world. It feels like it makes you remember that this isn't what's happening. It's being animated, it's being drawn, it's being made. And that's the biggest issue. Is that it doesn't fit.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. I think specifically when there isn't a lot going on movement-wise on screen is when it suffers the most.
Exactly.
There's a scene I remember where the doctor like just gives someone a thumbs up or something, and it looks like atrocious. And like you would think something like that would be I don't know, easy enough to do. However, a lot of the times during the actual action of the fight scenes, you know, like when someone's head is getting roundhouse kicked in or whatever, I think it looks pretty good, which is why I imagine they went with that sort of style, because it fits with the fight that they wanted to do, but it does. Like, I think someone was talking about the backflip someone did. There's like, you know, like when two people are fighting and then they separate, and then, you know, like they do like the little like Bruce Lee movement thing or whatever. It looks weird. They don't walk like normal people. Like the movement isn't like normal people, which is super weird because like you would think that would be easier with animation, since you have like more freedom to, you know, like you control the points of, what's it called? The points of anyone who's good at art.
Points of intersection? Or maybe?
No, points
of rotation?
No. It doesn't matter. The
Either
parts
way,
where the joints move.
I kind of want to piggyback off of that.
Yeah.
Because so one of the things that ends up happening later in the show that I noticed was that they actually, for certain scenes, they actually did switch between CGI and hand drawn.
Yeah, no.
So, and
I'll talk about that later. Sorry.
Yeah, like it makes such a difference. Like I feel like they were trying to make it fully out of CGIs because I guess it was just kind of like their goal. And then later towards the end, they were just kind of like, we should spend a little bit more money on this. And Parf.
Yeah, so I also noticed that, and I noticed it a lot more in the Gen scenes. And I would have to actually like go back and like write it down. But I only started thinking about this now. It could be completely my brain just going off into like nowhere land. But I wonder if it's like, I noticed the CGI more definitely in the hole. I wonder if they switched between using CGI in the hole and mostly in the hole, and then using drawn in the sorcerer world to make a difference. Because there's definitely way more drawn, at least from what I noticed, in the sorcerer world. I don't know if that's on purpose. It could be purely accidental, but I at least noticed that Gen mostly in those scenes with the Gen family Gen N family were really less CGI and more drawn. So I wonder if if that was purposeful or not.
So, I want to mention is that like what Kat said between like the mix of 2D and 3D. I was just saying it is awful when there is a 2D character and a 3D character at the same time standing next to each other. It looks absolutely horrible. Like I'm sorry, there's no excuse for that. I really just can't like stand by at all.
What if the excuse is to save money?
Well,
Boom.
then I would say
bad
that's
excuse.
Yeah, I know.
Bad excuse.
Yeah,
It's like saying, why did you rob this person? Oh, because I didn't have money.
or it's more like, oh, why is the Mona Lisa next to this like absurdist or surrealist painting in the
That's
same
what
gallery?
I was thinking of when I was
it's like
comparing
it's
it.
just a bad. That's just a bad, but that's bad. That's bad at. Yeah, it means the person arranging the gallery did a bad job. Like, you know, like that. That's where I'm at sitting. At least I agree that like the idea of what it. I don't know, when it was bad, it was really bad, and it was really noticeable when 3D characters and 2D characters, like generally speaking, you're just taught, or maybe I shouldn't say taught because I stopped art in like 10th grade, not even probably like 8th grade, but still like my general understanding with art is that you don't, and animation is that you don't mix 2D and 3D.
Oh, never.
I mean, you can, right? I'm sure it's possible to.
I mean,
do
they
well,
did it.
But here's how you do it. So, and I hate bringing this up here because I know what kind of reaction it's gonna get. But I'm gonna talk about Attack on Titan.
Okay.
And so
we like Attack on Titan's animation. That's not our problem with the show.
So the reason why it looks good is because like it's not that it doesn't use CGI, is that like it uses CGI in places where it's necessary. Like they don't use it for the characters when they're just walking around. There's no reason to use CGI for that. just use 2D animation. It looks better, and it's probably less work. What they do use CGI for is for the fight scenes when they're like running around and shit. Like the scene with Levi like fighting those people with the guns. Probably like I would say a good half of that is CGI, but you just don't notice because it's in motion. And that's what's important is that good CGI is CGI you don't notice. Like you just look at it and think there's nothing that's out of place. The same thing with Demon Slayer. Like there's a ton of fight scenes that you CGI, but you just don't notice it because it just blends in perfectly. Because when it's in motion, it's hard to tell. So that's why. So like, as Miles said, the worst parts were because when they were just standing around doing nothing. Yeah, that's because like you don't see it in motion, so you notice how bad it looks. Like if you were to pause like a random frame in like Naruto or something, like the pain fight for example, it's like the ridiculous faces. It's like the same thing as that, except imagine if that was just how it always looked. And that is like the issue I have with this show, is that these issues aren't like, they aren't because of like a lack of money or something. It's just that they chose to do this, and I just don't understand.
It's like I understand that anime is a visual medium, and I have no problems with people like critiquing it, the visuals like on their final ratings. Personally, I do think that the animations at some parts are like really bad. I also do think that it's really well done in certain aspects as well.
No, yeah, no, I agree.
But like,
there are some parts that look really good.
Yeah, I guess to me I know some people watch this dub and some people watch this sub. And I wonder if it would vary based off like what you watch, because to me I think the sub is like I think it was probably one of the best like subs of last year in terms of the technical voice acting aspect of it. It was so well done matching the characters' voices where I bypass the animation because I'm having so much fun with the conversation and the characters. And like I get what you're saying. I just think that I do think it's like not as big of a deal because there's so many other great aspects of the show that it can kind of be like pushed to the side, because this isn't a show like Violet Evergarden or like Keep Your Hands Off Aizoken, where the animations add elements to the story. I feel like this is like more like character based, the world building and stuff like that. But that could just be my 2 cents.
Again, my take of animation is that like if it's just mediocre animation, no one talks about it. It's just like, oh yeah, it was there. And like for a show like this, it doesn't need great animation. It just needs animation that can get by without you noticing that it's bad. But when they decided to like make as I said, like the Caillou faces on Nikaido's.
That was my wife.
Yeah, no, like again, like I get it. It's off-putting.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Out of the immersion.
Especially if that's like something that you like, because you do art and you're drawn towards like shows that have good art. It's another element for you.
That.
Yeah.
Again, like if you don't have a problem with it, like there's nothing I can do about it. Like you're free to have an opinion.
Yeah, of course.
It's just for me as someone who has done art for nearly a decade and has just like has also tried to get into animation before. Not that I was that good, but like I did try. It's just I notice these things and it just bugs me because I know it could be so much better.
I think that's a very valid criticism.
I agree. But yeah, all right. Does anyone else have anything like specific they wanted to talk about before we move on to our closing thoughts?
No best girl.
No, I guess not.
No best girl.
We can throw those into our closing thoughts. How about that?
Right.
Just to keep us moving here. Yeah, it is getting a little late. A little bit late. But all right, sweet. So yeah, let's do our closing thoughts. Miles, what have you got? And your score and your best girl. Not in that order though, usually. So,
Sure. Yeah. So
in the correct order. Yeah.
Overall, I found the show to be quite enjoyable. It has good characters and stuff. Once I got past the sort of uncanny valley animation, there was like a lot to enjoy. The world building is really good. There are some good action scenes. And as we've mentioned, and I've already mentioned, character interactions and relationships and everything, and how they all bounce off of each other. is like super good. Best girl is Nikaido. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. All right, not too bad. All right, Kat, what have you got?
So, the biggest things that are influencing my vote are because of my first impressions watching it through the first time, and the changes that I've had going through watching it the second time. Mainly the noticeable differences that I had when I watched it the second time, because I actually watched it on 4K TV with good internet, so that was a big difference. So I did get to see a little bit more of those flaws, but one of the things that I actually noticed was that I just put together in my head, like a few seconds ago, was that the show's like bad animation mixed with the crazy OP and the EDs and all the things that like went on in the show and how gruesome and nasty the whole show was, knowing that Johnson is a cockroach can talk to other cockroaches, which is fucking awesome, by the way.
Shocking.
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 Yes, sir. But like that type of stuff, I feel like that made it feel a little bit more uniform in a way. You don't have to agree with me, or you don't really have to understand what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to get my thoughts out. Now for best boy, I'm going with honestly, I'm gonna go with the professor, the dude.
The
Yeah,
doctor, the dark skinned doctor.
yes, the
Yeah.
one that almost shot the dude. Yes, that's my best
Well,
boy.
I loved him when he was like,
Yes.
"Don't you like? Aren't you a doctor because you like healing people?" And he was like, "What? No, I love doing research." I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah, because like,
How else would that
oh
make a good doctor?
yeah, like I don't give a fuck about helping you. I'm just trying to learn some shit. And then my best girl is, of course, it's gotta be Nikaido, because I wanted to say Shin. I mean, not Shin, but Noi.
Wait, do you know something we
They're a
don't?
package deal here. There's a package deal here. I wanted to say
Noi?
Noi, but Shin. God, Nikaido just has a lot more story that I can latch on to that I liked more, so that's why Nikaido is my best girl. My final score is a 9 out of 10. I actually bumped it down from a 10 out of 10 from last time, but it's still great. I'd highly recommend it.
Fair enough. All right, you said 9 out of 10. You said, sorry.
Yes, sir.
9. Thank you. I heard 9 and 10, and my brain stopped working.
Pride.
Yeah. It just stopped working. But yeah. So all right, Johnny, what have you got for your final score
So
and
for
everything else?
yeah, so for best girl, it's gonna be what's her name? Yeah, Ebisu. I have no reason. I just thought she was cute. I'm not gonna lie.
She was super hit or miss for me, but I do understand. Like,
I mean, like the scene where she just like orders like tits the size of like watermelons, and then goes up to like Noi as this high beat you while wearing like the skull mask is just like I don't know. I thought it was funny. Also, the shark scene, yeah, that was cute. Not gonna lie. Yeah, so like the show has a lot of good things. Don't get me wrong. Like I thought the characters were well written. There was like the music was pretty good, honestly. Like the OPs and like the 7 different EDs, they're really good. Like that again, the art direction. There's nothing wrong with like the overall art style. It's just how they did it. Just like pisses me off, and I know it's probably because of my own experience. But like it just detracts this so much from me. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. You can watch it and have a good time, but it was just off putting for me.
I think that's completely fair. Parth, what do you got?
Yeah, I loved this anime. I love the character interactions. I love the N family a lot. I know they're kind of like I don't really think there's a bad guy necessarily. I think they're just two different sides. I just like them a lot more. For best boy, Fujita, I love how useless he is, and I like how he just keeps trying, even though he is never going to be Kaiman at all. And then for best girl, I jokingly said Ibisu, but I think it's definitely got to be Noi for me. Just because I liked her ability. That being said, I think I would give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Alrighty. Pete, what have you got?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I loved about it, and we can kind of see here, is how good the cast is. I love character-based shows, regardless of the situation, and this is what we got. We got a comedy horror we have 3 people saying 3 different, like, best boys, best girls, and I just fell in love with the cast. The dialogue is so much fun between everybody, regardless of the situation, and that's what I'm drawn towards to in my anime. I thought the animations technically bad at parts, but I did think the theme of the grittiness, the swampiness that is the hole, and kind of like the paradise that was like ends I don't know, campus was like a really fun dynamic. Love the power system. There's so many great things about the show. Best boy, doesn't say the gender, but Johnson's my boy. I love Johnson so much. He's such a fun character. The baseball episode cracked me up so much. But Shin's like a close second if you don't count Johnson as a boy. Best girl, I believe in big girl supremacy. Noi, I loved her. She was such a fun character. I loved her dynamic with Shin. I think the Kaido is also just fantastic. This show was so much fun rewatching it. It captured the enjoyment that I had from the first time watching it. And the first time I watched it, I gave it a 10. It was my number 4 show from last year. And I think it captured that. I didn't think it was going to go down any... I thought it might have gone down to a 9, but I had a blast rewatching it. It was still there. It was fun. The elements that I enjoy in anime were there. I'm giving it a 10. I love the show.
Wow. These are a lot higher scores than I thought we'd give it. But all right, yeah. So my closing thoughts and best girl, best boy. Best boy, I like Cayman a lot, especially his name is a pun. I think that's fun. About the islands in Florida where there's a lot of lizards or alligators, whatever you want to call him. I don't know, I guess Nikaido's best girl. They all look like guys, but she's best girl. So I don't know. It was
Cayman's
fine.
or not Cayman. Nikaido's a babe. I won't take the slander.
She looks like
Yeah.
fucking Seven Deadly Sins guy. I don't know.
Meliodas?
Yeah, that awful
Yeah. That's
She looks like that
hilarious.
to me. That's what she looks like to me.
great.
I can't get it out of my head. I mean, again, she's not. I'm being harsh, but even in the cover art, when you look at her PV, it's just like square
Tiny,
head. Yeah,
tiny.
I don't know. Yeah, the guy. Yeah, exactly. That was funny too.
Yeah, that was
I don't know.
fucking amazing.
The animation distracted me a lot, but again, I still did enjoy a lot of the character interactions, and I don't think that the show like was inherently bad. Wasn't I didn't. Maybe I've watched the best of that anime can offer for horror, which is like Shiki and other things, but I didn't.
Let's go.
I didn't
Just
feel
I'll
That's
take
what makes
it.
Miles
I'll
happy.
take it.
that was a simping for Miles moment, but like actually though, anime in hindsight now, anime sucks at horror, and there's just so few good horror anime out there, and this.
The scariest part
is
of
not
this
that
was the
scary.
OP.
Oh, the OP was horrifying.
OP
That
Oh,
is
the whole OP was
great.
great.
Yeah,
The
I
OP
loved
is
the
like
OP.
super disconcerting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and I also think the other scariest part was the animation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that
everyone
was
turned into plastic for some reason.
Yeah, exactly.
What if they made that a plot point in season 2?
Okay, if that's a plot point, I'll move it up to 10. You heard it.
Yeah,
You heard
fair,
it here
fair.
first. If
If they
it's a
changed
plot
everything
point,
to
I'll give it a
2D
10.
and they say it was a plot point because like the main character was on crack or something, I'll give them a 10 out of 10.
There we go. All right, but yeah, so this is like a very 7 out of
Cool.
10. I don't know what my score is, Johnny. It's a very 7 out of 10 anime for me. Because I don't want to go much lower. Because again, I think it was inherently good, but it didn't make sense to me, man. I don't get why it had to be drawn and animated the way that it was, especially when you look at
Either,
the
man.
source of the manga. The manga is
The manga looks
gorgeous.
so
Like
much better.
maybe that's just the the nitpicked screenshots from Tyler sending to us, but like I don't understand why it couldn't just be like that.
Well,
But
it's a
that
lot easier. Mangas always look better because like you just have to,
Draw
do the
yeah.
manga thing.
Yeah, but
Sometimes.
no, they do always look better. But like
There's
it's
exceptions.
but the point is that it it's normally not like that significant of a drop off, I guess, is my big problem, and that's where it really stood out for me. But yeah, so that's our final score. So when I do my little calculator here and average this out between 6 people, that I did not carry the 10 on that. Whoopsie daisy. Let's see. That looks more like the score that it should be. I averaged that to an 8.33. So that's not too bad. That's actually I think that's higher than it is on Mal.
it's
Yeah,
like
it
an
is.
8.1 or something.
It's 8.08. So yeah. On Mal. So there you go. So we liked it a little more than Mal does. Pretty close though, I'd say. Score wise. But yeah, so we're done talking about our Halloween horror anime. Horror. Let's move on to what we're watching 2 weeks from now on the God, is that the 14th or the 15th? I can't do math. 15th.
15th.
Yeah, 15th. There you go, Pat. Good job. What are we watching?
So, we had a pretty tight race this week.
A 2-horse race. Oh wait.
Stop,
A 2-horse race. Yeah, sorry.
stop horsing around.
So we in third place had Astra. In second place we had Vivi, and in third place we had
Right,
Yuru
place.
Camp.
In first place?
So in first place, did I break up?
You said third
You
place.
said third place.
In third place we had Yuru Camp. 2 third places. No, yeah, Yuru Camp won.
Woo!
Yes!
Let's go, baby.
So we will watch Cozy Camping Girls.
Yeah, super easy rewatch for me, where I think
Yes,
I could
sir.
recite the exact things that happened in the first season without rewatching much of it. But hey, let's see. I don't know. I would be shocked if we could talk for over an hour.
Oh, I'll
about
talk
that
an
show.
hour by myself about it if we can't get
Oh,
there.
hell yeah.
Okay, Pete. I expect you to talk
Here's
a
my
whole hour about it.
Nadeshko figurine. You guys can't see it, but I'm holding it up. Love me
Oh,
some
I actually
Yuru
just
Camp.
got mine today. I haven't opened them yet.
Nice.
The Twitch stream is lagging a bit for me, but I just saw you hold it up. Fucking cute.
nice. I don't know. I think it's a fun show. I just don't know how we talk about it for an hour, but we'll figure it out because we always do. But yeah, so now let's move on to our nominations for the God, what week is that now? Let me click my calendar again. The 29th of November. So that's the Monday
Week
after
after
Thanksgiving. Yep, the Monday after Thanksgiving. So we're going to be doing colonial themed anime only, just so you guys know.
Perfect.
You guys got the memo, right? That I sent.
Yes.
I sent it by carrier.
Yeah.
pigeon,
Yes.
So I
Perfect,
assume
yeah,
you
yeah.
must have gotten it by now.
I'm Canadian, so I don't get anything.
Well, your Thanksgiving was like a month ago, so yeah.
Thanks for
Then
respecting of Americans.
I was
Oh,
hoping.
Johnny, don't even start. All right, we're not gonna go there.
Yeah,
We're not gonna go there.
We're not.
Yeah,
I was
Canada.
hoping we were gonna do some like videos when we actually get to Anime NYC, which we're all actually gonna be at, and we're gonna be
Not
together.
Most of
Johnny.
us, not Johnny, unfortunately. But yeah, we can definitely. We'll definitely have some
cares about
stuff. But
And Miles.
come on.
Love you, Johnny.
Why are we all being so mean tonight? But no, yeah, we can. Well, that's something we'll talk about after we do the nominations for this 29th of November. So yeah, joking obviously about the colonial theme, but I don't know. But Black Friday is the night. Yeah, it's a couple days before that too. I don't know.
Yeah, you
Make
have
your
to
nominations.
nominate anime that you found in the bargain bin.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, so number 1.
Oh, so we're doing
Miles, what's your
another
nomination?
bad anime?
Millennium Actress.
Millennium Actress is Miles' nomination. There we go. All right, what about you, Kat?
I was not prepared for this. I'm sorry. Give me a
If only
second.
you knew that this was gonna happen leading up to
You
this
know what,
week.
Pat? You go. What are you nominating?
Vivi, because
Okay.
it should have won this week, and I should have just not reminded Kat to vote, and then I would have. But because I'm a nice
yours.
and caring host, I decided to remind Kat, and then paid the price for it. So maybe we'll get it this week. Vivi is mine. So there you go. Kat, or Johnny, what's yours?
Well, if we're gonna continue on the trend of nominating old shows that never win, I'll just do Domestic Girlfriend again. Why not?
I love
Big.
it. I'll vote for it again every time. Parf, what have you got?
Purely because of my costume. One Piece episode of East Blue is the first four arcs compiled into a movie.
Parf. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a throwaway. No one is voting for that.
Oh, I know it is. I
Alright,
couldn't come
I'm
up
just
with
letting you
anything.
know that's getting 0
I couldn't come up with
votes.
anything.
That might be the lowest voted show I think we've ever
I
had.
hope it is. It was that or X Arms.
No. Pete had a show that had one, and once we do like One Piece, Tyler will throw it a vote or something.
Oh,
Listen,
you're right.
it was
you're
that or
right.
X Arms. And
I was gonna vote.
The
for it.
audience vote. Forgot about
It's
that.
just Pete and his mom. That's
Oh,
the
did we
audience.
get an audience vote this week, Pete?
Oh, I didn't check, but
Okay. Well,
it probably did make a difference. If it did, my bad.
no, 1 point
It,
difference.
1 point
between
difference.
the
So
two.
yeah, it would be a pretty big deal if we got one. But I don't know. Whatever. Pete, what's your show?
I think just because I got Legacy Point, I'm gonna re-up Astra Lost in Space.
Very good choice as well. Awesome. And now we go swing it all the way back to Kat. Kat, you are back. What is your nomination?
This is, we haven't actually done this, but I'm sure all of us have actually watched it. I was thinking about nominating Kaguya-sama.
Oh, well, I'll fucking vote for it. I'll watch that show 1,000 times.
Kaguya-sama. All right, Love is War, and I like it. I like it. We got some good nominations this week.
Though, so you're not gonna watch it.
He just said he'd watch it 1,000 times.
Yeah, but he's not the one with the stargazing, so he's lying.
Yeah, but season 2 has stargazing. There.
So by association, it's great.
Yeah. All right. So like Kat mentioned a little early.
Okay, so currently we have some votes coming in. Sorry to interrupt, but One Piece episode of East Blue is in the lead.
Crazy.
So,
Oh, did Haz vote for that?
Has voted
how
for
much?
it, yes.
How much did you pay Haz?
Nothing, probably.
I'm gonna be
has-
real honest. I didn't think it was this or X Arms, and I decided I didn't want to watch X Arms.
Yeah, no, don't worry, it won't win.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
No, you don't. I'm pretty sure it won't. So don't worry.
These are just throwaways.
Save it
That's
for the
funny.
awful episode.
But yeah, so back to what I was trying to say, and so again, Kat brought this up earlier, but yeah, so we on the podcast in general are going to Anime NYC. So if there are any listeners out there that are planning on attending that as well, hit us up, join our Discord, come talk to us, whatever, so that we can. We'd love to meet you, love to talk to you, love to share our shitty takes in person. We will probably be recording content, not a ton of it, but some of it at least, I would think, at the convention.
I'm gonna be drunk the whole time. I don't know if I
know.
want to.
We know.
Well, we'll have at least photos. we
Yeah,
might
for
have
sure. I'll
videos
post some
and
stuff. Yeah.
We'll have some stuff to post. Like, there's no definitely we're not promising a vlog of any kind or anything like that. That's for sure. But yeah, so yeah, just come hang out with us. Come say hello. If you're there, I don't know. There's some pretty cool panels, some pretty cool things to do. Obviously, it's in New York City too. You know, the second best city in the Northeast, so it's a lot of fun up there too.
Behind Portland, Maine, of course.
Yes, well, no, Bangkok. That's the best city, obviously. Bangor.
Northeast.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bangkok.
I thought that was
Yeah,
a joke.
It is a joke. It is a joke. It's Bangor is the Maine. It's a town in Maine. Pardon me.
It is.
Banger.
It is a banger. Yeah, that was a banger joke, Pat. Holy shit. Can we end this episode now? Thank you,
I mean, we
Pat.
can.
Good job.
We almost got through an episode without you doing it, and we didn't get there.
No, never will.
We were so close.
Pat's too good at those plugs, you know. So yeah, let's send it to Pete to close us out.
Yeah, I'll close things out. If you like the podcast, if you want to support us, the best way to do that is like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. It helps beat the algorithms of whatever platform you're listening on. Next week, we have our most popular segment of all time returning for the 6th edition. That's Anime Jeopardy. We are doing a watch club version of it. So Pat will be defending his championship belt that he stole from me. So I'm going to hopefully get it back along with Kat and Johnny, and Miles is the host this time around. So
the questions are going to be really hard.
Yes.
And they're not going to... He's going to yell at us for not getting
I'm going to study his My Anime list and see the 107 anime that he has seen and do some research on the shows that he gave a 10 and probably find out the questions that way.
Rewatch Madoka,
Yes.
Rewatch something
Shiki
else.
or something like that. But Pat...
I might have to... Oh.
Come on, Johnny. So, as Pat mentioned, if you want to join our Discord, in the links below in the link tree has a link to all of our socials, Twitter, Discord, YouTube if you're watching on audio platforms, or our Spotify and Apple Podcast links, depending if you just want to listen to our audio platforms as well. Other than that, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks for the greatest slice of life of all time, Laid Back Camp. We will see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Bitten back.